Alla prima painting is painting at one stroke. Sometimes it's thought of doing a painting in one go, but that's a false impression. It's putting the color down once and putting down the right color. So an alla prima painting can be like Monet's water lilies, which took him probably 6 months to a year or 2 years to finish an alla prima painting. So because every stroke is put down to a true exact color that he was looking for. That is the basic meaning of the thing. So we're going to paint in patches of color, each patch as true as we can possibly make it. I just need to get my palette knife out here. So I'll start with a slightly larger brush. This is a number 8, and I'll have my palette knife, and I'm going to mark some things. Well, a prima painting is more for the lighter side of your painting, not so much for the darker side of your painting. The darker side of your painting always looks great as scumbles. I think these scumbles are looking nice. So I'm going to put some colors now into the lighter parts, which are the roses. First there, then there. So what I'm doing, you can actually see, I'm planning the paint stroke there, and I'm planning the paint stroke there without touching the canvas. So the first one is here. I've now got a slightly more orangey flower than I had before. Not as yellow as before, but the yellowish is there. There's enough of the yellow in there. So the first thing is I'll mix this color. I'll take some white because I want it to be pale. Pale. I'll take some yellow because I want the yellow in there. And I'll take some of the red, and the red goes in on the side. I'll just hold this up for a moment so you can more really see what I'm doing there. The yellow, the red, and the white. So these are the colors as I'm mixing them. Now a good thing to do whenever you want really good and true color is to mix your color with your palette knife, like this. You can't see what I'm doing now. I'm mixing it with my palette knife. And once you've mixed it with your palette knife, then try this little trick. It's not a trick, let's try this method. You lift the color up and you hold the color in front of your subject. Make sure it gets the same amount of light as your subject gets. So that looks right. It would be a little bit more yellow. You adjust it. A little bit more yellow. Pick it up and hold it in front of you, getting the same light source. There. That seems to be perfect. Now, I'm tempted to apply it with my palette knife, but that's a slightly different technique. That different technique would be called impasto, paint palette knife impasto. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remix my color here with a brush and pick it up with a brush and make sure that I pick up a generous amount of color. Now, the whole thing about an alla prima painting is to get one perfect brush stroke. So if it goes down there, down, drag, stop, and lift. That seems to me to be one perfect brush stroke. I shouldn't say perfect because it's boasting and it seems self-satisfied, smug. And then I'm going to put some yellow in here at the bottom side. I'll show you afterwards how I mix the colors. Put the yellow in there, and with this yellow color I'll work in this direction from the center of that pinkish one, with a more yellow one like that. Stop. We pick up the color that we need. For example, in this case, at the bottom here, I want some more yellow. So pick up the yellow from there, and I add it in the bottom here. And I want it to be a paler yellow. So I'll add white down here as well. The paler colors get added at the bottom of the mixes, and the darker colors get mixed at the top here. So this I can now hold up. That's a nice color. And again, I can use my palette knife to test the color. You can also hold your paintbrush up, but your paintbrush doesn't really show you such good color. It does. So I'll just do it like this. Save a bit of time. You mustn't save time. Hey? Time is the one thing you have got plenty of. What you haven't got is effort, because we are lazy people, lazy animals. So effort is what makes us a painting, not time, not paint, not money, not canvas, not brushes, nothing like that, the effort that we put into it. So that's 1, 2, 3 colors. All 3 of them I'm pretty happy with, so I'm going to stick with this big brush. The other area of light color that I can work on would be the wall. I'm not really that keen to work on the wall because the wall is looking nice. This bottom section is looking nice, but I will put one in there to just show you how, if I'm lucky, I can make it I can make it blend in. I want to say disappear, but that's not the whole job. If it disappears, that means that it's blending in very beautifully to what's already there. And that would be very nice. So I'm looking for a color. It needs a little bit of green, proper green, and some yellow ochre. Now I think this color is close, but again, I'm going to use my palette knife, clean the palette knife and a bit of toilet paper, pick up the fresh color, and hold it in front of the wall. I can't see. Hold it in front of the wall. It's a little bit too dark, so more white. Quite a lot more white. I think the color is correct, but it needs more whiteness. So I'll show you now. This should be just about right. Pick it up like that and hold it in front of the wall. Now that is disappearing against the wall. So with this, I'm tempted again. It's nice to paint when you mix it with a palette knife. It's nice to put it on with a palette knife, but rather pick it up with your brush. Because we're doing painting now, we're not, impasto is the next technique that we'll be studying. That will be in a week from now. So this color, and I'll put this color down, not there where it's nice, there where it's not quite as perfect as that. So like that. There's the stroke. Now we've got 4 strokes. One in the wall. Please don't call it a background. It isn't a background. It's a wall. Background is a horrible term which amateur and bad artists use to describe the part of the painting that they don't care about. It's the background. It's like a throwaway term. I don't care about the background. It's a wall, or it's a carpet, or it's a window. When you work actually with a palette knife, I just want to show this. It makes maybe a difference. More generous. Okay, more of whatever color I want to use. More of that. And more of that. I'm going to try to mix the exact same color that I've got here already, because I don't really want to change that color. But there we go, there we go. This color is not going to go onto the canvas because I'm now working away from the canvas to do this part. There we go. Okay. Now I can pick this color up nicely. And there's a nice dollop of the paint here. And I can hold that and see that that color, let's turn it towards the light, is the same as the color that I've just mixed it from there. That's exactly the same because the light angle on both are exactly the same. So this color I can then apply. I'm just going to do a... No, I won't. There's a trick that you can do with your brush. You can pick up a color. Instead of picking it up from there on the palette, you can pick it up from your palette knife like this. You see? And then you can paint it on like this. So the painting technique, which ignore it if you like, the painting technique is 4 strokes, four steps. 1, down, pause, drag, pause, stop, pause, and lift. Now that paint stroke is done. So it's got a beginning, which you can see. It's got a movement that you can see, and it's got a stop and a pause and a lift that you can see. And where you lift, the paint follows the brush up into the air. Each color, absolutely perfect. Now this color is good. It's not as blue-gray as I wanted it. It's got a little bit of green into it. That means I can look around for the exact spot where this color will look at its best. And I think that spot that I'm looking for is round about here. And I'm going to drag it into the blue there. So down, drag, stop, and lift. So that's how it goes. I've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 colors in there. And each of them is a note. Now, if you think of Beethoven composing a sonata, then he plays on the piano, and if he plays da 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 da, and he gets it da 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 da, it doesn't work. You see, so it has to be da 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 da, and that da has to be exact. As that note has to be exactly right, so each of our color notes has to be exactly right. I shall carry on with this painting. I might carry on with it now. I'm in full flow, but this is enough to demonstrate what I'm looking for. I'm also interested in the surface of the wood here that the still life sits on. So I'll mix a little bit of that. It's like a nice orangey, deepish color. I'll mix it with my brush, hold it there, and it seems perfect. Seems perfect. If something seems perfect, there's nothing more that you can do. You mix the color until it feels perfect. Not until it is perfect. It'll never be perfect. But you make it as perfect as you can. You cannot paint false color. You have to paint true color. And I've got a variation of that same color, and I'll put that variation here, starting inside that blue, and drag it in this direction. There. So this is a good place to stop. I'm not going to do too much there. The idea of palimpsest, which I have mentioned before, is that through the direct painting you can see the scumbles. Through the scumbles you can see the line work, the line drawing. Through the line drawing you can see the color beginning. And that is palimpsest. Everything is visible through, every layer is visible through another layer in sort of a veiled thing. So Titian said his secret was glazes. He used the word svelatura, unveiling, unveiling, unveiling. 30 to 40 svelatura or glazes, which we'll do in a couple of weeks. In fact, I'll demonstrate the glazing technique next week, early in the week.